I hate that thing. That's so weird. How do I share my screen? Page. Let's unmute myself. Where is it? Perfect. Okay, cool. We did not go over why we need an instrument rating, which is kind of the entire point of this course. So can anybody tell me why we need an instrument rating to fly? Like, what's the point? Like, why would we get it? Why don't we just stick to having our PPL with a VFR? Like,
So it has less limitations.
yes, true. What limitations do you? What limitations do you? How do I word this? What other privileges do you have with an IFR license?
Like class alpha.
Class alpha airspace.
So IFC.
IMC conditions.
So I
Yeah.
still would choose that with my machinery.
Yeah, since we are also in slings. So you can fly in weather that is less than VFR conditions. All right. Anyone else?
If you have a commercial, you can fly at night if you're a commercial pilot.
Yes, day and night. So if you are a commercial pilot operating for like a Part 135, if you do not have an instrument rating, you cannot carry passengers for more than 50 nautical miles during the day or at night, period. So if you're trying to get hired at a commercial operation without an instrument rating, no one's gonna hire you because if you were working out of Gillespie, you could only take people to Hemet. Like, you can't do jack. So for commercial operations, greater than 50 nautical miles day and at night. All right, and then there's one more, you know, this one's kind of like what most people don't think of, but still kind of important. Wait, no? No?
So
You with an IFR rating, you can do special VFR from sunset to sunrise. If you do not have an IFR rating, you cannot do special VFR from sunset to sunrise.
yeah.
Any questions on this?
No.
No? Okay, this, have you done your hold next space check, Kimberly? No.
Should be coming up.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you are on holds and arcs space check, this is going to be the first question they ask you, so make sure you are listing all 4 of these things. Yes, the main thing that an instrument rating gives you the privilege to do is fly in less than VFR conditions, but these other 3 are also very important. Any questions on that? No? Cool, okay. So today we're talking about the pedostatic system and the vacuum system. So, let's see. I'm gonna start. We'll start here. All right. Everyone can see this, all right? So, you learn about this in private. We learn about all our systems, but especially in instrument, it's really important to thoroughly understand your systems because if your instrument fails, you need to figure out what to do in that scenario and also how to compensate for that and also even to detect if something is failed. So the pedostatic system, can anybody tell me what 3 instruments this gives us?
Airspeed indicator, versus speed indicator and altimeter.
Exactly, all right. So, okay. Hold on, guys. Right, so pedostatic system gives us our airspeed indication, our altimeter, and our vertical speed indication. And stop a little bit. Okay, cool. And these, the pedostatic system gives us these three instruments, and it comes from our pedo tube. And our static port. Bless you. Thank you. Our static port. So our pedo tube, there's only one, it's not tubes. Measures. Our pedo tube measures ram air pressure. And this is just kind of essentially total air pressure as it exists, like as you're moving through the air, it's a combination of dynamic and static air pressure. Our static port measures static air pressure. Now, static air pressure is the air pressure of the atmosphere as it's just existing. So as you climb, does air pressure get higher or lower?
Lower.
Exactly. As you climb, it gets lower. And as you descend, cool. Make sure. Yeah. Cool. So, next one. Okay. Okay, cool. We'll do this after. So, the pedo tube also, I forgot to mention, has a drain hole. Drain hole. And this just allows for air to, because it's essentially one hole, like the air goes through the pedo tube and out the drain hole. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. So the pedo tube is only connected to the airspeed indicator, but the static port is connected to all three instruments. So, all right. Any questions so far? Everybody with me? Cool. So the first instrument we're going to be talking about is the airspeed indicator. So like we talked about, airspeed indicator takes information from our pedo tube and our static port. Inside the airspeed indicator, we have what's called a diaphragm. This diaphragm, like think of it like how your stomach, like when you breathe in air, it expands. When you exhale air, it contracts. So same thing. Pedo tube fills the diaphragm with ram air pressure, and the static port fills the surrounding case with static air pressure. As you increase and decrease in airspeed, this diaphragm expands and contracts based on that differential pressure to give that airspeed indication. So, like seen here, oh, there we go. So, as you increase in airspeed, that diaphragm is going to expand to show an increase in airspeed on the indicator. And as you, what the heck? Oh. As you decrease in airspeed, the diaphragm is going to contract and show a decrease in airspeed indication. Is that making sense so far, everybody? Okay, cool. We're not gonna go over that. So the altimeter works similarly to the airspeed indicator, but it only takes information from the static port. So it has what's called a sealed aneroid wafer, which is similar to a diaphragm, but the pressure inside the aneroid wafer remains the same, 2992. And what's 2992?
Sense pressure.
Exactly. Yeah. So essentially, we have the sealed aneroid wafer set to 2992, and then the case fills with static air pressure. And same thing with the diaphragm, the aneroid wafer expands and contracts based on that differential pressure to give an altimeter reading. So, when you climb to that lower pressure air, like we talked about earlier, that aneroid wafer expands to show an increase in altitude. And when you descend to that higher pressure air, that aneroid wafer contracts to show a decrease in altitude. And finally, we have our vertical speed indicator. So our vertical speed indicator only takes information from the static port. It has a diaphragm inside of a case, like the, whatchamacallit, the airspeed indicator. So it only takes information from the static port. The static port is connected to both the diaphragm and the case, but the static port, the static air enters the case through a calibrated leak. So it means that only a certain amount of air is let in at one time. So the pressure changes instantly inside of the diaphragm, but slowly inside of the case. Does that make sense? Everybody? Okay, cool. So in order for it, so the VSI essentially compares the pressure inside the diaphragm that instantly changed to the pressure inside of the case that slowly changed to give that vertical speed indication. So as you climb to that lower pressure air, there's that instant change, causes that contraction in the diaphragm to show an increase in vertical speed. And then once the pressures equalize between the two, meaning that you're leveled off, it'll show a 0 on the vertical speed indicator. And then same thing. So as you descend to that higher pressure air, that diaphragm will expand, shows a decrease in vertical speed or a descent, and then eventually it'll level off at 0 once you have leveled off. Cool. Any questions on that so far? Okay, cool. So like we talked about, it's really important to understand what's going to happen if any of your systems fail an instrument, because you are only flying by your instruments. You're not looking outside. So there are a few ways that this can happen. When you are flying in instrument conditions, you are susceptible to icing. So this pitot tube can get clogged by icing. It can also get clogged by other things, like if a bug flies into it, or like, I don't know, if there's some dust, like something clogged in there, it can get blocked by that. And static port can get blocked by other ways as well. But if the pitot tube is blocked or not working, what instrument's going to be affected? And if the static port is blocked, what's going to be affected? Yes, exactly. Wow, you guys are a great class. That was not sarcastic, I was being for real.
I think you were sarcastic.
No, I was being great. You guys already know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, you guys are great.
You guys are so excited.
No, you guys just kind of have like low energy today. Like I need you to match like my level. Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. So a blocked, wait. I thought a different slide, that's fine. All right, so a blocked pitot tube, like we talked about, is going to only affect the airspeed indicator. What do we think is going to happen when the pitot tube is blocked? This means we're not getting any ram air pressure. So what's going to happen inside the instrument?
Gonna act as a tuner,
Exactly. Anybody know why?
because it has to static.
Yes, only static air, exactly. So we're gonna have no ram air pressure in here, like no new ram air pressure, only new static air pressure. So as you climb to lower pressure air, essentially, because there's no change in ram air pressure, the diaphragm is expanding and contracting incorrectly. So as you climb, as you increase in airspeed, as you climb to lower pressure air, it's gonna show that increase in airspeed. And as you descend to higher pressure air, it's going to show a decrease in airspeed. So like Thiago said, it's just going to act like an altimeter. Cool. If the static port is blocked, what do you guys think is going to happen to the airspeed indicator?
You just don't stay in place.
No,
Yeah.
it works, but it reads like inaccurately.
Yeah, it basically just completely inaccurate because we're not getting any static pressure change. Because we're not getting any static pressure change, you're trapped. The air inside the instrument is trapped at that one altitude. So like we talked about, that diaphragm is going to expand and contract incorrectly. So if you climb to 6,000, that air at 6,000 is different at 5,000. So it's just going to be incorrect. So like you see, you climb to lower pressure air, the air in the static port is not the same as it was at the previous altitude. So everything's going to be incorrect. And there is something on here that I didn't know. So this we're talking about, the previous two blockages we were talking about is if the pitot tube is blocked. If the drain hole is blocked, but the pitot tube is blocked, the airspeed indicator will read incorrectly. So essentially, it'll just be wrong. If anything is blocked, obviously it will be wrong, but there are certain ways that it'll read depending on what's blocked. So if the airspeed indicator, oh. What is this? Oh, just kidding. If the static port is blocked, what do we think is gonna happen to the altimeter?
It's gonna frozen on the altitude that got clogged.
Yes, exactly, because we have to remember that sealed aneroid wafer is set at 299.2. That pressure is not gonna change. The only pressure that's changing is inside of the case. So if this pressure is not gonna change, it's just gonna freeze. So if we climb, there's gonna be no pressure change between any of the two, so it's gonna freeze. Same thing, when you descend, no pressure change, it's gonna be just showing the same. It's not gonna read 0, it's gonna freeze at the altitude that it was blocked at. So if we have a clogged static port, what do we think is gonna happen to the VSI?
Same thing.
Same thing, yes, because both the diaphragm and the case get their information from the static port, so nothing's gonna change inside, so it's going to read 0. So even as you climb, it's gonna freeze at 0, and even as you descend, it's going to freeze at 0. Cool. So fixing the blockages, there are a couple ways that we can do this. In our aircraft, we have pitot heat. It's a little toggle switch right next to our autopilot function. You can turn that on, it'll melt the ice away. Actually I've never tried it in icing, but it's gonna heat the pitot tube to hopefully melt the icing away. Some aircraft are equipped with an alternate static source. I have been told that there are a few slings that actually have them, but it's not like the standard. Like we don't, it's better to assume that we don't have an alternate static port. But if you do, I'm assuming Cessnas have an alternate static port, most of them do. Yeah, if you do use an alternate static source, you have to be aware that there are going to be some errors because the alternate static source is on the inside of the aircraft. And our aircraft are not completely airtight sealed, so it's not going to be completely static air. So it's just going to be a little bit incorrect. So for example, the airspeed indicator is going to have a slight increase in airspeed, and the altimeter is also going to have a slight increase, and the vertical speed is going to have a slight increase and then to normal. Yeah, so, sorry. Hello, welcome in. So, we just talked about this whole pitot-static system. We talked about the mechanical pitot-static system. We in the slings do not have this. We have what's called an air data computer, or an ADC. So an ADC is connected to our pitot-static system, but it's made up of sensors to give us our airspeed indication, our altimeter, our vertical speed indication, and our outside air temperature. Where is that? So I want to pull that. Yeah. I just put it down, but yeah. Okay, I'm actually not gonna put it more. So, air data computer, ADC. This is what is connected to our pitot-static instruments. So it doesn't work the same way that I just talked about, even though we spent like 30 minutes on that. But it's still important to know because when the DPE is asking about our pitot-static system on your check ride, they're asking for this. They're not asking for this. So, but what we have instead is called the ADC. So the air data computer connected to our pitot tube and our static port, and it computes everything for us. It's a computer. So in the case of failure, I think it was, I have a full image again. Okay, y'all see those red X's like that?
Yeah.
That means that your instrument, something has failed. There we go. So in the case of instrument failure on your G3X, we have our backup G5. And the reason that we can use this is because we have two separate ADC. We have one ADC for our G3X and one ADC for our G5. That's why if you guys have ever noticed that when you're taxiing or like even anytime in flight, the readings on both of these are going to be a little bit different because they have two separate computers. So if this ADC fails, we can use the G5 instead. Cool. Any questions on that so far? No? Awesome. Cool. So let me check and make sure that nobody's like, oh, there's nobody here anyway. Okay, cool. So, next we're gonna talk about,
But the
sorry,
recording still gets uploaded.
what?
The recording still gets uploaded.
Oh, I forgot. That's so true. So next, we're gonna talk about our aircraft vacuum system. So our vacuum system gives us our gyroscopic instruments. Gyroscopic instruments are our attitude indicator, our heading indicator, and our turn coordinator. So these gyroscopic instruments, oh, yeah. Save that sentence for later. So the vacuum system is run via a vacuum pump that's connected to our aircraft's engine. And it essentially, it sucks air from the engine into the air filter, and then it uses that air to spin the gyroscopes in the gyroscopic instruments. And there's also like other few components, but that's just the main thing to understand. So the vacuum system powers our gyroscopic instruments, and these gyroscopic instruments operate off of two principles. The first one is rigidity in space, and this is the principle that a gyroscope will remain in a fixed position in the plane in which it is spinning. So think of it like a bicycle wheel. A bicycle wheel spins forward like this. It will always spin forward on that plane, or what's the right way? Yeah. It'll always spin on that vertical axis like that, even if it's turned like left or right. It'll always remain spinning like that. Does that make sense to everybody? Cool. And then we have gyroscopic precession. This one's a little more complicated. Gyroscopic precession is the idea that any force acted on a gyroscope will be exerted 90 degrees ahead of that force in the direction of rotation. So essentially, they're saying, okay, you have this gyro right here. It's spinning like this. And if you apply a force to the top, like so, you're applying that force to the top. Gyroscopic precession says that that force will be exerted 90 degrees ahead of and in the direction of rotation. So we're rotating this way. So it's going to be exerted in this direction, 90 degrees ahead. So it's going to be exerted like that. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. So those are the two principles that these instruments operate off of. Our first one that we have is our attitude indicator. So our attitude indicator, it measures pitch and bank. We have this gyro right here. It spins on a horizontal plane like so. This gyro is attached to gimbals, and these gimbals are mounted on the inside of the attitude indicator. So, and this gimbal is also attached to this horizon reference arm. So essentially, this horizon reference arm mirrors the face of the attitude indicator. So as the aircraft like banks and turns and pitches up and down, it moves this arm, and it's also shown on the attitude indicator. Make sense? Okay. Actually, just gonna bring this keyboard. So, like we talked about, you guys have all seen this before. We have our degrees of bank, 10, 20, 30, 60, and our degrees of pitch. So now we have our heading indicator. So our heading indicator has a gyro inside. It spins vertically. Like with the attitude indicator, there are gimbals that hold that gyro in place. The gimbals are mounted on the inside of the heading indicator, and they are attached to these rotors up here called the main drive gear. So as the gyro spins, it moves the gimbals, which moves the face of the heading indicator to show our heading. Over time, friction of these gimbals causes the heading indicator to drift from its originally set position. So you have to slave it to your magnetic compass every, I think it's 10 to 15 minutes. You probably have to do it. We don't have to do it in our aircraft, but in most six-pack aircraft, you would have to.
Oh, yeah, you have to
Yeah, so you have a knob, you push it, you're on the ground. You also want to redo it every time in the air, like every 15 minutes, I think they say. Yeah,
that
okay.
seems too much work.
I know. Thank God for HSI.
Unless you have like the G5 in those planes, like you replace I guess we just use that.
That sucks. So, like we talked about, this is the vacuum system. There we go. These two instruments are driven by the vacuum system, but the turn coordinator and the turn and slip indicator are electrically driven. Anybody know why?
For safety.
Yes. For redundancy purposes, yes, because if your vacuum system fails and all of these instruments are connected to the vacuum system, you're screwed, like, what are you gonna do? But if it's one of them is connected to an electric pump instead, you still have one instrument at least. So the attitude indicator and the heading indicator are vacuum driven generally, and this. There we go. The turn and slip indicator and the turn coordinator are electrically driven. So this essentially tells us if we're making a left or right turn and the rate of turn. The gyro spins vertically like that. And the gyro spins on the vertical axis and gimbals are attached to that gyro and allow it to move. So as the aircraft turns and does whatever it does, that gyro will move and indicate it on the face of the indicator. We also have an inclinometer on here. This shows us if we are coordinated in our turns. Or coordinated in flight in general. So this is a curved glass tube and that ball is free to move around. So because it's curved, the lowest point is in the center. So if you're coordinated, meaning that your forces are all equal and you're not uncoordinated, that ball will remain in the center. But if not, you have to, kick it to make it coordinated. And then we have our turn coordinator. So similarly, it's electrically driven. It first shows our rate of banking, and once it's stabilized, our turn rate. These two instruments are built similarly, but the gyro in the turn coordinator is mounted at a 30-degree angle. So that gyro still rotates vertically, but the gimbal that holds the gyro in place is tilted 30 degrees. As the aircraft turns, the indicator first shows the rate of banking, and once it's stabilized, the turn rate. And like the other instrument, we also have our inclinometer. So if any of these, because these are gyroscopic instruments, gyroscopes are very reliable, but if you use excessive maneuvers, they can what's called tumble, and essentially the gyro tumbles out of its position. So if the attitude indicator, if you're exceeding about 70 degrees of pitch or 110 degrees of bank, this can make it tumble. And with the heading indicator and turn coordinator, any excessive bank angle can also make it tumble. So any vacuum system failure will be shown, meaning that the vacuum is not able to maintain sufficient suction, so it can't spin those gyros. Any of that, any indication that your instruments have failed will show this red little flag, just saying it's inoperative. But like we talked about earlier, on our instruments, it'll just be a big red X. So, instead of a heading indicator, we have what's called an HSI. So HSI is horizontal situation indicator. Their HSI combines the heading indicator, which is what we use to do our heading, and our course deviation indicator, our CDI. So our CDI, this is really important in instrument training, is what you use to correct for the course that you're tracking to a VOR, to a GPS, localizer, things like that. So essentially, in six-pack airplanes, these would be separate. The heading indicator and the CDI would be two separate instruments. But for us, it's all one instrument on our HSI. So up here, we have our heading indication, and this is whatever we're tracking into. Let's say it's a VOR, and this is our CDI, our course deviation indicator. Any questions on that one? No? Okay. So similarly, we do not have a standard gyroscopic system. We have what's called an attitude heading reference system, or our AHAR system. So the AHAR system uses different sensors to provide our attitude, our HSI, our rate of turn. So the first thing we have is an accelerometer. This measures aircraft acceleration rate. And then we have a magnetometer, which measures Earth's magnetic fields. So this gives us our magnetic heading, which we will kind of go into a little bit more later. But what's great about this is that we're not subjected to those traditional gyroscopic errors. So we don't have to reset our heading indicator every 10 to 15 minutes. We also don't have to worry about our instruments tumbling. Like we talked about with the ADC, we have one AHAR system for our G3X, and we have one AHAR system for our G5. So in the case that this one fails, we can still use our G5 with the second AHAR system. That makes sense. Any questions? I can, making sense, kid?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm just processing.
Yeah, no, okay, you're good.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good? Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody confused? No? Oh, wow. You guys are really smart. Okay, cool.
It's a little confusing.
Just a little bit.
I don't
It's,
know where I'm confused though.
that's fair. Is there anything that's not making sense to you?
I guess like,
It's a
Yeah.
lot too, yeah.
yeah, let's say like the DP ask you like, would they ask like, what is the AHRS system? I
Yes,
guess.
yes, they
Okay.
will. Yeah. So it's important to know both of them.
Yeah.
I would say you don't necessarily, actually, honestly, the vacuum system, I did not really learn until my CFI. Like I understood what it was, but nobody's ever asked me that. The pedostatic system, they just want to make sure that you have like a basic understanding of
Yeah.
like how the instruments work, but they will ask about the ADC and the AHRS. So
Okay.
yeah.
Because that's what we have.
Cause that, yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
because that's
that
what they
makes
have.
sense.
They'll be like, okay, but you don't
But it's
have.
not complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna get
it
it.
doesn't look too complicated.
No.
I mean, I know like the pedostatic system and all that, but yeah, this is all new. So.
Yeah.
Basically, they calculate the pH row and
Center port, where was you?
pH row and yaw. That's what they do, the calculation they are
Okay.
doing.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Cool. Okay. So, oh, we're not going to talk about this because nobody uses this anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You what?
I hate having to learn how that works
Did
for my shepherd air.
oh, girl, I just memorized them. Like I'm sorry, the Shepherd Air stuff. Some of it I just memorized. Like I didn't even learn it. I just went, okay, I know what that
I
is.
still don't understand them after watching like 10 videos.
No, RMI, I had to learn this for CFII, and I was just like, I don't understand what's going on. But, and then even my DP was like, okay, and I was like, okay, RMI. He was like, do you guys have one? And I was like, no. He was like, okay, next. And I was like, so I just spent 3 hours learning this for nothing. I mean, if you guys want to know, basically it tracks the VORs and ADS, but you can't directly like track a radial or anything. It literally is just like, okay, the station is in this direction. And you're like, thanks, that's so helpful. Like,
And you can't have more than like plus or minus 4-degree deviation.
What do you mean?
That's if.
Maybe
he's talking about the error. VOR.
Are you talking about VOR
Yeah,
checks?
connect to the VO with that.
Oh, yeah, probably. Oh, that's a good question. I was
Well,
sure.
at least that's where I'm shepherd air.
Yeah,
That's what I try to apply to get the question right.
Yeah.
I'm wrong every time.
You're not the only one, bro. You're not.
nah, Shepherd Air is brutal, guys. I swear.
Specific.
You know,
And
I like.
in the BOT.
So basically,
it's plus
can I ask you a
or
question?
minus 4
No.
degrees difference, whereas in the
Uh,
air,
So basically on this one, so like it is
So, you know how we sign up? for
track to
that
VR
tool?
and magnetic
I'm not signing
north
up
all
for
the time, no
it.
matter
Yeah.
what.
One more.
Yeah, so that's a green needle, I
I
believe,
don't
right?
even know that much.
That's a green needle, right?
Mhm. No,
But
no.
what is the yellow one?
No.
Oh,
This needle is for your ADF, your automatic direction finder. No one uses them anymore either. But the yellow one is your VOR needle.
Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
Never.
They have this on Shepherd Air?
They took.
No.
I think it's
pictures
probably
of-
on the test, on the written briefing.
Yeah.
I think they
I
have.
saw them do that.
They even take the
It's
pictures
like
off
one
of the
question and I
ADF
get it
on
wrong every time.
private.
Mhm.
Don't even talk about written, I need to do mine.
Yeah. Anybody
I
schedule their
still-
I need to
written?
do my.
I can't wait to hold the marks because I don't
Yeah,
understand.
I need to do.
You don't?
Because
Oh,
next-
they're actually really simple.
I'm
They're
studying
also,
Shepherd.
don't tell anybody I told you this, they're made up. Like hold marks are not real things. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like they're made up things in the
I feel
sky.
like Izzy's gonna be that conspiracy teacher.
No, I'm just kidding. I forgot this is recorded, but it's.
Yeah, but your microphone's off.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole time, so.
Yeah.
I thought you saw the big window that said you're muted at the start.
Oh, no, it's on.
Oh,
Oh.
it's not, no.
Just the video though.
Um,
Is anyone on it?
no.
You can say that you just tested
They-
the
they
microphone.
upload-
Honestly, it must be. Hmm. What I was gonna say, actually, I forgot to mention this yesterday. While you were taking your instrument written for Shepherd, take your CF double I written. So it's gonna be F double I because technically it's a separate test and a separate set of questions, but they're exactly the same. So I just used the instrument course for Shepherd and then I scheduled them like back to back and I just did them one after the other. Same test, same question bank, super, super easy. So
What do y'all use to schedule for the written exam?
it's called PSI exams.
Same.
Yeah, same thing. The Morehouse location here is really like, they're just,
Oh,
They're
that's
getting
so
better.
annoying.
they act like you're going into like jail. Like they're like, okay, like arms up and they pat you down and they like make you put everything away. And I was like, whoa. This is so
And there's a lot of different tests
Yeah.
there, so noisy.
they're a full PSI location, so they'll do like nursing tests and esthetician, like all these different types of things.
Realistic as well.
They were doing the firearms knowledge test.
Oh,
Yeah, there was, when I went, it was crazy.
Right, I only went there for my PPL and after that I went everywhere else possible. But schedule it ahead of time because it's really hard to get a date and a time. So all of you guys, I'm looking at mostly you three, four right here.
Yeah.
Actually, you two, you two should.
Scheduled, but I need to push it back again.
No, just do Shepherd Air and get it done. I promise, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna do next month, I'm gonna do next month.
Yeah.
That's what I did with
study
PPL too,
properly. I need to
next
study
month.
properly.
No, just okay. To each their own. To each their own. Who am I to tell you what's right or wrong?
I just have an issue scheduling because I can't sign in. I don't remember what email or password. I
Oh, girl, getting into PSI 2 is like getting into the White House. Like that's just really annoying. I can't lie. Yeah, I get it. Oh, what's next? Oh, how do I do this? Okay, cool. Oh. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about magnetic compasses. We don't have a magnetic compass.
Jeez, skip this part. No.
I wish we could, guys. I really wish we could. But like we talked about yesterday, this instrument rating does not allow you, this is not instrument rating Sling, it's instrument rating airplane, like period. So we have to learn about these things. But we don't, like we talked about, what do we have instead of a magnetic compass? Well, yes, essentially, but what exact, what's the word? Yeah, what
Oh, we had
You
this discussion before I left.
there's a word for it that I'm trying to think of, but I don't think there.
Wait, what are you?
What replaces our magnetic compass? What do we use
Yeah.
instead?
HSI? Magnetometer?
Yes, thank you, magnetometer. So, does anyone remember what a magnetometer does?
Yeah, it's.
Earth's
This
magnetic.
might.
Wow, great job.
What?
Reads Earth's magnetic field.
Yeah, so it measures
Oh.
right
On the
here.
anti-side.
It measures Earth's magnetic field to give us a essentially heading. Yes.
Could you just like point to it on that G, is that the G5?
Oh. This is the G1000. It's
This is on Tally.
okay. So HSI, it's not like you're gonna see like, oh, magnetometer here. But the magnetometer is like the computer that's computing our magnetic heading. And it's gonna be shown like right here.
Okay.
Yeah, does that make sense?
It's just a part of the HSI.
It's a part of the AHARS system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like similar to that one, you see the head H273.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah,
it's
it's
basically the same thing as the
it's very
G1000.
similar.
Yeah. Oh, my purse.
So-
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But then we learn it like this, I don't know which is which. 'cause it's-
I remember a lot of people went
Yeah.
crazy asking what a magnetometer is.
Really? They will probably ask you that too.
No, because we were having a discussion about KOEM and John ended up asking what replaces magnetic direction indicator
Yeah,
for us.
yeah.
So that sent everyone like a.
They didn't know the answer?
He did
That's
not
okay.
know.
That's
Even
fair. Who?
Adam did not know. He just said magnetometer.
And that was wrong?
No, it was right, but he
Oh.
did not know what or where in the sling it was.
Somebody told me where it was, but I forget.
It's behind the seashell on the left side.
Oh, is that where, on the KICC? Left side, left seat, and then behind,
Yeah, it's on that, whatever.
on the fuselage?
Yeah, future.
Yeah, I know what it's
On the
called.
left side, it's like, the inspection box underneath the,
Mhm.
it's.
Oh.
You can see from there.
Okay, okay,
Or
cool.
also the window that you have it on the back wall.
Okay, yeah, it's over there.
Some places you can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That's-
don't know.
That's where it
I
is.
didn't know it was located somewhere particularly in the plane.
Yeah, exactly. But do you guys have any questions on the magnetometer situation? It's okay if you do, you can ask. Oh, time. No? You just, yeah, cool, no? You wanna sit on it?
I don't wanna talk about it.
So fair. Alright, so we'll talk about magnetic compass instead. So they are very reliable, kind of. They do experience many different air factors that can lead to errors because magnets tend to do their own thing. We can't really tell them what to do. So we use the acronym VD-MONA to remember all of our magnetic compass errors. I've also used DV-MONA. I think it doesn't really matter, obviously, but these are all of them. So we have variation, deviation, magnetic dip, oscillation, northerly turning errors, and acceleration errors. So the first one is magnetic variation. So magnetic variation is the difference between true north and magnetic north. So true north is where the North Pole is located. This is a geographical location. This true north never changes. It's always going to be where the North Pole is. But magnetic north is where Earth's magnetic field is concentrated in the north. And magnetic fields are constantly changing. So over time, magnetic north shifts farther and farther and farther from true north. Do you guys know what we fly? Like on our HSI, what are we flying in reference to?
Wait, what?
Oh, you're saying like true versus magnetic. Yeah, I think it's magnetic, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we fly in reference to magnetic north. What are our VFR sectional charts drawn in reference to?
True.
True, exactly. And how do we convert from true to magnetic?
It is the magnetic minus the deviation.
Yes, and where do we find the deviation?
Show on the map.
Yeah,
It
what?
always change. According to me.
Sorry, it's
Is it 11?
I think we're still 11, yeah. For flight.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't want to have to sign in. All right, let's just go.
that's correct.
Yeah. Cool. So we measure the difference between magnetic north, or true north and magnetic north via these isogonic lines, these magenta dash lines. So this is saying that we have an 11-degree variation. So anytime you guys remember doing those VFR paper charts, nav logs, bane of my existence, you flew down here, so you're at -11. You were probably different though, right?
I was like 14 or
Oh,
something.
that's great. That's a lot different. Yeah,
Yes.
so,
But are we gonna have to do a paper, IFR?
yes.
No, because the easy to copy answer is like, oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Coming up.
You still have to do them all the way throughout commercial. But also though, in commercial, you only do it for like check ride and like final page check, so it's. But after that, you're like kind of done with, yeah,
Yeah.
not like you ever have to do them in the airline, so.
Have you planned your flights via paper after completing everything?
Yes, I use paper nav logs all the time to complete all of my flights.
That's crazy.
No.
Oh, I was like, oh.
You feel like that. No, I have.
Actually being sarcastic.
Yeah, no, I use Foreflight. Sorry, I'm part of this new generation. Like a sane human, like I'm sorry, but you know. But yeah, so this dash magenta line is how we can find our magnetic variation. That's for VFR though. So if you are flying, luckily in IFR, actually, back to Foreflight. Oh, do they have the IFR low chart on
I
here?
think they.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, it's right there on the mindset. Third one.
Oh, see. Okay. So this is what an IFR chart looks like. We'll go over this eventually. We will. It's not that bad, I promise. But all of these charts are drawn in reference to magnetic north. So when you're doing your paper nav log for IFR, they're different nav logs, essentially the same thing. You just don't have to correct for magnetic variation.
Oh, so that's all in magnetic, so it's not like true, like the VFR chart.
No, not at all. These are drawn in reference to magnetic north, which is kind of nice.
So you don't have to correct for it, right?
Don't have to correct for anything.
So you would fly these vectors?
Yes, you would, yeah. So like if you were gonna fly. Yeah, you would, yeah. I'm gonna try and look for a heading, like. Yes, exactly.
So it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Any questions on that one? Any questions? No? Cool, cool. Okay, so next one we have is compass deviation. So compass deviation occurs because of electromagnetic fields in the aircraft. This interferes with our magnets. I don't know why, I don't know how, it just does something to it. So an aircraft with a magnetic compass, they're equipped with these cards, I'm sure you two have them on your aircraft, saying that if you, for example, wanted to fly easterly, instead of flying 090, you would fly 085. And somebody goes in and does this and puts the compass card up there. So this is a really easy error to correct for. You just gotta, make sure that you're following it. And then oscillation. So oscillation, a compass has magnets. The magnet is inside of kerosene fluid and is encased in a housing. And the compass card is inside as well. So if it's really turbulent or you're making really excessive maneuver changes or maneuvers, it can shake the compass card and just cause it to look really crazy and not give you an accurate heading. But over time, it'll return back to its actual heading. It just is going to take a little while. And then we have magnetic dip. So, like we talked about, I hate this one. This is your magnet. This is Earth's magnetic field. So, as it gets closer to the poles, it dips forward. Your magnet, your north end, this north end is always going to want to dip towards that north pole. When you're over here, where there's no dip into the North Pole, it's straight up and down. But the closer that you get to that pole, that north end of the compass wants to dip towards that North Pole. Does that make sense to everybody? And this is in the Northern Hemisphere. It's different in the Southern Hemisphere, but we're not going to talk about that. So magnetic dip results in two errors: turning errors and acceleration errors. So when you are turning from a northerly heading, due to magnetic dip, the north end of the compass, essentially the way you want to think about it, that north end of the compass is going to be heavier. It's trying to lead everything. So when you're turning from a northerly heading, actually, I'm going to draw this. Actually, so like,
What do you do right now?
so this is your magnet. This top part is your north end. This magnet wants to stay on the north end. So when you're turning from a northerly heading, that magnet is right.
Bless you.
Yeah. No, it's fine. The north end of the compass wants to stay on that north end. So when you try to turn, it's going to stay there as long as possible until it actually has to turn. So that means it's going to lag. Yes. Vice versa with the southern heading. So when you're turning from a southerly heading, that north end is like, hey, yay, we get to go to the north side again. So it's like, it's going to catch up and get really excited and go to that north end as fast as possible. So it's going to lead. So I'm sure you guys have heard this acronym: undershoot north, overshoot south. So when you're turning from northerly heading, undershoot north. And when you're turning to southerly heading, overshoot it, because it's going to lead it. But we don't have to do this in our aircraft. And then finally, we also have acceleration errors. So this happens when an aircraft is on an east or west heading. We use the acronym. So when you accelerate on an easterly heading, that northern end of the compass is going to, how do I describe this? It's led by the north end because it's heavier, causing it to indicate a turn to the north. And vice versa, when you decelerate, that north end is still heavier, but it's going to turn in that opposite direction and indicate a turn to the south when you decelerate. This only happens on east and westerly headings, not on north and south.
Does this go back to that pressure we apply in the magnetic compass that we just talked about? You know, the 90-degree.
No.
Okay, so why is it tilted like that in this example?
Oh, because the compass will tilt. Okay, so what you're talking about, gyroscopic precession, only applies to gyroscopic instruments.
Oh.
Yes, so this,
This is.
the magnetic compass, is not considered a gyroscopic instrument, it's just like in its own
Yeah,
little.
why don't they draw it the same way though?
Yeah, Tim. Yeah, I'll call my. I'll call my people about that one. We'll see if they can do anything. Well, it does look similar. You're actually right. I never processed that back. Does this make sense though?
Yeah, after you just explain the difference, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
No. Great. There's no stupid questions, guys, because I have been where you've been. I have asked some crazy questions before. It's okay. It's for that one. Okay. Whew. We're not gonna talk about it right now. Any questions on what we just covered? Yeah.
And for this one in particular, does this matter which hemisphere you're in as well?
Yes. All magnetic compass errors
Yeah.
matter for the hemisphere. I'm assuming, do not quote me on this, I'm assuming that it's just completely opposite in the southern hemisphere.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
Isn't it what's most accurate in the equation?
Yes. I think so. Any questions? No? Okay, cool. We're gonna take a 5-10 minute break because that was a lot of information. You guys seem really overwhelmed, which is totally okay. It's totally valid. This is a lot. Yeah. Okay, cool. Go get some air or something.
Get out, that's.
That's the key. You gotta leave.
That's
As much as I know.
Low key.
In my pilot training, I prefer flying recovery.
Oh, so-
It was the most fun part.
well, once you're in, it's gonna, you're gonna realize how awesome, like how nice it is.
Have you guys flown yet? I guess not, yeah. That's great.
I did discovery.
No, that's
Guys, go outside, get some air. This classroom is so stuffy.
Yeah.
Or not, fine.
So you go outside and stand out there?
Yeah. When I started here, every time during break, we would all just stand outside and vape in a circle.
Babe.
Yeah, like I think 90% of our class vaped.
Whoa, your microphone's still on.
Oh, sorry guys.
I'm testing it, like.
Okay, let's. Here, you guys all wanna come share this with yourselves?
Yeah.
Okay, here you guys.
Oh, you're the one that was helping on those.
Come put your,
No,
come put your stuff.
That's me seems over here. It's better to be taught the way you desired to learn.
Yes. Affirmative, yes, yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. Yeah. I worked very hard on these slides,
You have
guys.
to
That's it. So
send-
like 22.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
No, no, you can enter all the.
Oh, and then send it all at once.
Not the other one.
You guys both had Aaron, right?
It used to be.
Yeah, that's, I remember that.
Yeah.
Presented it
to the GPU.
Wait, this guy wasn't your.
So I did
The other
it,
one was.
cause I like,
Yeah.
This one was.
Oh.
you can buy your own slides.
Oh, you can add-
I bought
No,
them.
because it didn't actually add
But
this.
then for a while.
No, I
I
added once too.
Yeah.
Once you press the
Present it if it was
You can add like multiple emails like that.
Isn't it supposed to like show?
Can you like present the follow up?
You go, show me how you do it.
You
No,
can.
no, you
yeah.
add all of the emails next to each other and then you
But I
press.
tried
And then you
to
press
not
it.
to,
Yeah, and then it's-
try to, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, make it
You
fun.
Wait. Oh, I can, so I can mine too. Wait.
Now you can yours and then press.
Yeah,
enter.
look. Yeah.
You're giving us editor privileges.
What?
I'm gonna change it to viewer.
Oh my god, yeah. Thank you. I didn't even process that.
I love the custom slides.
Well, actually, I can't lie, half of it, well, I did kind of buy this. I bought it, but then I changed everything. Like I used it like to have the, what would you call it? The structure of it where I had like, yeah, I customized it myself because I was like, no, this is here. Yeah.
You bought like slides from.
No, you buy them from, there's like a company that makes them. Because they make, the thing about CFI is that there are so many different lesson plans on the ACS. That it's impossible to put them all unless you spend like a year on it. Yeah. Not a year, that's dramatic, but so it's very, yeah.
Random question, but do you know the process of updating your pilot certificates? Maybe it's bad change. Didn't go through that.
Oh, I would actually, I would ask,
That's great, so.
do you know who
I
John
didn't know that he
is?
was that great, because he was so far deep.
He got married
But
and
the other
had
one,
changed
the
the
other one
license,
was.
so I can ask the license. So I was trying to pick somebody I know who has changed, but I'm assuming it's through IAC on the website, so, yeah. The instructor.
Awesome.
Yeah, 'cause- Yeah, well, cause when he got married, he took his wife's last name. You can do that. He did. Tell me what. Oh, do you want these two, Katu?
Oh, no, you're gonna use for.
You're gonna use this for check ride? That's fine. I don't really care. Guys, this chair does not move the way I want it to move. Yeah. No, maybe that's why there was a big backlash.
That's like.
Share right here?
Yeah.
You took his wife last name?
You know his wife's last name, yeah.
Hi.
I'm pretty
I
sure
think he liked it better.
Oh,
Yeah.
it does make him sound
We'll
better.
take it to the wife.
John Sukran,
Who have it?
What
the
is it?
instructor John.
Yeah.
Yeah. His last name is his wife's last name. When they got married, he took her name.
Oh.
Mhm.
That's one hell of a pose, but.
Oh, hey.
Send a message.
Okay, cool. So,
That's why I don't like you over here that much, you know? It's like a single fast.
anybody, you guys don't have any questions on what we've been over the past couple days? No questions? No, none at all.
We need time to digest it.
All the
Okay.
arcs and approaches
That's
will be
fair.
next week or the week through.
Ooh, let's see. Gosh, this stupid chair. Okay, so
Yeah,
Tomorrow?
I got some example questions here in Shepherd Air for you guys.
You know.
Some
He already won
example
you.
questions.
Everything. was-
next week, okay, so actually, hold
Yeah,
stuff
hold it.
are until week 3. But the thing is, we're honestly, I don't know if I'm going too fast or you guys are just really smart.
No, you're going perfectly.
Am I, okay, if I'm going too fast, like, let me know. I tend to talk really fast. But that seemed really fake in it. So tomorrow we have instrument failures, lost comms and HCC procedures. Thursday, we have risks and hazards. Risk management. Friday is a week review and a quiz. I forgot to tell you guys, there's a quiz at the end of every week. But also, good morning.
Sorry.
No, you're good. We kind of like went through the whole lesson. So,
I accidentally took one of the keys last night, so.
before Charlie, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so every week you do have to take a quiz on Friday. It doesn't count for any.
It does.
Yeah, it's just for us to get a check on your knowledge and where you're at. Oh, yeah, it's just for us to get a check on. Fuck. Sorry. I don't know if I updated it.
It's better have that.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't buy this, somebody else sent it to me. I honestly don't really know what to do today. The rest of the class. Actually,
But did we finish everything?
no,
Uh,
so much more to go through today.
No, like for today, I was like,
Kind of didn't actually finish.
Okay, I found my question.
Okay, what's your question?
So, do you want me to just read it?
No, sure.
Yeah, I'll, so
You
read-
need to, yeah,
Can I
you
read
need
it
to see
multiple
it,
screen share?
yeah, screen share.
cause you can't see it, you need to see the
Oh, you
picture.
can just do like multi.
Kasha, do you know how to? That situation?
It's connected, that's where you're at, there, bro. Let's switch.
I have to switch it to AirPlay.
The next step.
Oh, okay, wait. But yeah, no, keep going, sorry. This is like irrelevant.
Yeah, you just need to.
Oh, cool, you can do that with this, okay, cool, I didn't know that, I would have done that too.
But yeah, if you airplay the people on.
Oh, no.
Okay.
He's signing up.
Everyone's right there.
You sign out?
Hold on.
Log in password right
Who did
there.
not follow that? Who did not follow that?
What's the keyword? What did I search up?
What's the question?
You lost it again?
Yeah,
I think
he
Girly pop. Oh my.
was old
I'm gonna go with 80 questions.
somewhere over here.
somewhere.
You got this.
Somewhere over here.
You do.
We'll see the figure and we'll know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Oh, there's you didn't print the memory aid, you need to print, that's what's gonna help you.
These ones that you just memorize.
Here, there's a memory aid, which question did you see?
Okay, so
I understand you just memorize, but what happens when you're actually in the situation where you're flying?
we'll,
Oh, you're not gonna use that.
we'll,
Not that.
we'll go over how to do holds. I would
Yeah.
start it if it wasn't gonna be like a 2-hour lesson, but it's kind of like a 2-hour lesson. Yeah, my advice for this one is just to, that or memorize it.
That one is, on the memory aid saying that,
Did you print out the memory?
yeah, you should print. the
Yeah,
memory aid.
print that out.
I did print it out and then I lost it. I printed out like 5 times.
So that one is.
These are the ABC vortex on the 090. So that's your
It's a
outbound.
left, right?
It's gonna be a, whatchamacall, it's gonna be a teardrop.
Parallel,
Oh.
try parallel, try parallel.
Teardrop.
Wait, let's see what the answer is.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it.
Wait, what? Because
It's
Ah.
elevator.
090 is on the,
It's
is,
parallel, yes, it's left, parallel,
oh yeah, cause teardrop, parallel.
parallel.
I was just testing you guys.
That's too.
Hey, how was it?
But use the memory aid.
How was the what?
How was the last Sunday?
Because this,
What?
How was your last Sunday? You had to check right away.
so all the questions that you have in the memory aid, is questions that a lot of people miss, so that's what they made them, so just make sure that you.
Memorize everything.
No, this one
No,
is that,
it's-
all those here, mostly gonna be memorized things,
Okay.
and not gonna be changing, so.
Yeah, okay, does that, yeah, that doesn't really answer your question, but it gives you an answer. If that makes sense. There actually are some things I wanted to go over that I don't think they really talk about them in the slides. First off, actually, do you guys know, the rest of you guys probably do, did you get your flight figured out?
I emailed them
Okay,
this morning.
okay, cool. I'm gonna airplay my iPad to the TV real quick. How do I do that?
Screen mirror.
Good morning.
Good morning.
No,
Who?
I guess.
Click
I'll
on
miss
mirror.
you.
No, you're not.
Not anymore.
It's not showing up.
Oh, maybe he's still connect?
Yeah.
Oh, you know why? I'm on the solo, the SIM Wi-Fi. That's
Oh, you need to
why.
be,
I have
yeah,
to
that's
use
what,
Sling Wi-Fi.
yeah.
You should be on
Okay.
Sling Jest.
Cool.
Why you having this anyway?
Cause she's
Because
instructor.
instructor. No, no, I don't have, oh no, we don't have access to the other Sling Wi-Fi. We're not that cool, or maybe they do, I don't. Let's pick this one. Sling guest, cool. Let's see. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Mom, oh, got it. Cool,
You
cool,
wanna
cool, cool.
recreate this pose?
What pose? Oh my gosh, I remember that. Crazy.
What?
Okay,
The first time she taught, bro.
Okay.
Bigger stuff.
so, like we talked about with what is it called? What?
You ask what are we talking
What are we
about?
talking
Sorry, my brain went somewhere. So like we talked about with face checks, this is mostly for you two guys, because you guys don't know where to find stuff. You have, if you are 141, you'll have 4 face checks for instrument. If you are 61, you will have 3 face checks for instrument. The, yay. Is anybody in 141? You, Chantal, you're 141?
Yeah.
What?
Who
Anybody
talk
else?
to determine that, or see if I
Oh,
read it?
yeah.
Oh,
You are automatically enrolled as 61 if you do not specifically request to be 141. If you want to switch to 141, talk to your instructor. But Kaz handles all the 141 stuff here. You guys know who that is, yeah?
Yeah.
No? Okay, he doesn't. He's one of the chiefs. Oh, short.
He's a funny,
Yeah,
funny French guy.
he's the funny French guy, yes. Yes, flirtation like that, yeah.
That should be good introduction for that. He wouldn't be happy.
He's a French guy.
He speaks in very calm.
He's
Yeah.
Usually always when he
Yeah.
speaks.
Yes, yes.
It looks cool.
He looks cool.
His legs really change.
Okay, but, oh yes, so also, if you do a face check for 141, it has to be done with Kaz, because he is the only certified 141, like, face check instructor. So just keep that in mind, and he also does all final face checks, him or Aaron, both of our chiefs do all final face checks. So, if, to prep for, huh,
Since when?
finals?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Johnson Tron did my final.
Oh, maybe I changed it. It used to be just Aaron and Kaz. Now is it maybe John? They added you. Who is it?
Yeah.
It's like all the advanced instructor can do that.
Oh.
I think for 141.
The one.
Yeah, 141
It's
needs to be
141, it has to be
there,
Kaz.
No, like the 141 only Kaz can do it, but then Aaron's in the process of
Yeah,
doing it,
Aaron's
but he
in the-
hasn't heard it from FAA. So
FAA.
FAA.
I've never heard somebody call it the FAA.
So it's that. FAA.
Sorry. there's-
FA.
Let me call the English seven.
Yeah.
FAA.
But yes. Oh, I made a mess over here. So yeah, 5. Oh, so in order to prep for face checks, there are face check documents. So you'll go to documents. You go to Sling Pilot Academy documents. Flight training. Face checks. And then they have 2 different ones. So let's say you're part 141. For instrument face checks, you'll have, the first one is,
Both the documents are in part 61.
this is wrong.
This is only scenarios.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, cool. Maybe I should. Okay. Hold and arcs. So you can go through, this is essentially what the CFI that is going to be doing your face check is grading you based off of. So they'll have your ground tasks and they're gonna go through essentially all of this stuff. Wow, that's a lot for holds, arcs, and departures. Okay, cool. And then it'll talk about what you're gonna do with your flight. So when I had a face check, I would make a study guide based off of this ground checklist, I guess, and then, study that before my face check. So that's where you can find the face check documents. Then I also wanted to show you guys, everybody else probably knows, but some of the other people probably don't know. All of our textbook, all FAA resources are in here under the FAA drive. So we have the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge, that's there. The Instrument Flying Handbook, the Airplane Flying Handbook, Instrument Procedure Handbook, everything is in here. So under handbooks, you can see all of them. Take advantage of this. I also bought them because I like the paper versions. But if you have questions, you should reference. YouTube is great. Don't get me wrong, YouTube is great, but also straight from the source is very good as well, because you're getting the answer that the FAA wants you to say. Like that's what the DP is looking for.
Is the Sling POH in there?
Yes, it should be under. It's under Sling Pilot Academy docs. Aircraft documents, and then Sling NGT. Sling NDT manuals and POH. And I don't, this one, that's the maintenance one. This is what we use. Yeah. Did you got a paper copy though? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Why don't we get
It's
into a
a
checklist?
We are getting new checklists. Yes, they just published, sent them out, but Aaron said they're printing them out in March. So that is gonna be a change that we're gonna have to do. They are, but they're out and published.
What is the biggest change they're putting?
Let me actually pull them up because I was looking at them the
Oh,
other
the
day.
new one? Oh,
I
they have
think
one
it's
here.
the emergency procedure.
I think the emergency procedures are different. Oh, you have paper copy?
I
Oh,
picked it.
my bad.
It looks awful.
You don't like the way it looks?
No.
It's
Do
like
you?
they did it like
Yeah.
that whole thing where
Oh, it's not, oh, it's too big, oh, okay.
no, it's just like a.
Oh, I that's it.
Where's the
It's in the Discord. They don't have.
it's not in the thing?
No.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not.
It's super small too,
It's small.
the,
Yeah, but most of the
Bible.
procedures are pretty similar. They change like the order of things, which is what's making me like a little bit confused, but.
Yeah.
I just don't like they put the emergency in the middle, so if you're flying,
They
right,
did?
so. On the middle for the emergency, cause we do it here, start, engine, run up before, oh, so is the way that you print?
Well, I just printed, this is like, you can do like this and then.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
But that's weird. It's like that.
I don't know. They're gonna get used to it. And then,
Sure.
It's the same like that.
I think that one's straight, they don't.
Okay.
I don't have it here.
That being said, do you two have any questions about like Sling stuff, like things I haven't gone over, like any, you know what I'm saying, like fourth flight, use course, stuff like that? No? Can't think of anything? Okay, that's cool, yeah, I mean, if you do, so you know, that's totally chill too. So there are actually some things that I wanted to go over that they don't go over in any of the slides, which is really silly because they're really important pieces of information that you guys need to know. Where's the thing? I wanted to first talk about, so we talked about earlier, oh, I should have asked if anyone's too late now. You guys will have the slides. So we talked about this morning, what's required for like why you would get an instrument rating. Who remembers what we talked about? That's not Tiago or Fatu or Gabriella. Cause I know you guys don't.
In the flying class A.
Mm-hmm.
So in IMC, if you hold a commercial fly at night for hire, I think it was day for more than 50 nautical miles.
Yeah.
And then it was special gift
From sunset to sunrise.
Yeah, exactly. So fly in less than VFR conditions. Okay. Commercial operations.
more than 50 nautical miles and then night, right?
Yeah, so more than 50 nautical miles day or night. So they're saying, carrying passengers. They're saying commercial operations, if you're carrying passengers during the day, you cannot travel more than 50 nautical miles. If you are carrying passengers at night, you cannot, you have to have an instrument rating. That makes sense to everybody? Cool. And then also, like we said, special VFR, sunset to sunrise. Okay, cool. Another thing I want to talk about, so you guys all know the PAVE checklist. When we are private pilots, we go through the PAVE checklist, and we talk about how we can stay current and how we are proficient. How do we remain current as private pilots?
So we can do in the preceding 90 days, 3 takeoffs, 3 landings.
Like as
To a full
PIC, you need a biannual like review.
Yes, so
Yeah,
PSE,
that's it.
PIC, you need a biannual flight review. Do you know what else counts for your biannual flight review?
Average check price.
Check ride. So a check ride can count for this. Or an instrument proficiency check, we'll talk about later, or like a type, any other rating on top of it.
I was gonna ask you, because
Mhm.
this is a question that I had.
Yeah.
So the biannual flight review can't supersede the IPC, but can you do the biannual flight review and the IPC together in one flight?
Oh.
Because even if you do an IPC, you still have to do a biannual.
Yes. Wait, I would assume. See if Pat's got this.
It's kind of a random question, so.
I don't know. I mean, that's a question I would ask.
What is IPC?
It's an instrument proficiency check, which we will talk about actually right next. But yeah, so your biannual, well, no, you can substitute your biannual flight review for another rating, license, or operating privilege. So like if you were to get type rated in a Pilatus or something, or what is it called? Or a proficiency check. So I'm pretty sure that IPC counts as a biannual flight review.
If you do it with a CFII.
Yes.
Or the DP?
Yes.
Or with a
Or with a
DP.
DP.
So you could probably do the approaches in the biannual.
So I would say yes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
Yeah.
regulation.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
I think it's 61.5, 51, sorry.
Operating privilege. So this is how.
I have another question, if you don't mind asking.
What's that?
So I was questions about the ATD, the Advanced Aircraft Training.
Okay, what's up with that?
You want me to ask you later or right now?
Yeah, wait, let me do this and then
Okay.
we'll do that after.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how you act as PIC. And then I heard somebody say it. How can you act as PIC and carry passengers?
Or sorry, what's the question?
How can you act as PIC and carry passengers? What currency do you use?
In the preceding 90 days, 3 takeoffs and 3 landings, and at night, just do a full stop.
Good. If let's say I'm an airline pilot, I'm ready to fly my 737, but I also have a GA aircraft. I have not flown my Sling in 6 months, but I've been flying a 737 for, twice a month and get paid a buttload of money. Can I take my Sling out? Does the proficiency for the 737 count?
No.
No, exactly. So when
Same category, class and type of aircraft.
same, so yes, any passenger carrying has to be same category and class aircraft. Okay, now,
Rating if it's, I think.
I left a really weird amount of space for this.
It's okay.
Oh, you do?
No, I
That's
just
okay.
like things to be at a certain, it's fine. Okay. Next, so these are all PPL. When you are an instrument rated pilot, you have another set of requirements to remain current. Actually, I want to pull them up on my laptop for you guys, because this is also, like I said earlier about this information, that's gonna be one of the first things they ask you on your Holden Arc space chart. So you want to make sure that you know what you're talking about. So this is gonna be regulation. Let's see. I like. Cool. What? Oh.
I have a flight, so I'll head off.
Oh, yeah, you're good. Okay, so this is 6157. This is everything, instrument. So, in order to act as KIC, under instrument flight rules, so under instrument flight rules or in less than VFR conditions, within the preceding 6 calendar months, you must complete and log 6 instrument approaches, 1 holding procedure, and intercepting,
Right.
inspecting, and tracking of electronic navigation. So the acronym that we use for this is 6 hits. Some people say six hits as in like 6 calendar months, 6 da 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 da. I just use 6 hits, up to you. So within the preceding 6 calendar months, you need 6 instrument approaches, 1 holding procedure, and at least an intercepting and tracking of the electronic navigation. There's no like, they don't say you have to track like 3 GPS courses or whatever like that. They just say that. Yeah, that's it. But, look.
Oh, good silence.
No, I'm just, oh, no, I'm just waiting for Gray. Yeah. Nice guy. It's got yogurt on my shirt. Yeah. Right.
Is that the extra small?
No, this is a small. Kelly traded me. 'Cause I-
That's nice.
Yeah, cause I told her, I was like, oh, they only were able to get me like 3 white ones, or like 4 white ones. And she was like, oh, I don't have any white, I'll trade you some small, cause I don't, the extra small won't fit me, so I gave it to her. So we traded, like white ones, Kelly?
They are.
Like, I put one on and I was like, I cannot wear it.
I know.
So it's like, yeah,
You could wear like a tank top. I mean,
that's what Amanda was saying, yeah, but I like the black, feel very professional.
Yeah.
What does that last word say? Sorry.
Oh, nav, sorry, sometimes my handwriting like looks a little weird, but like it's, yeah,
You're good. Yeah.
just a girl, so. Electronic navigation. So if it has been longer than 6 calendar months, you have another 6 calendar months to complete these requirements with a safety pilot. But your safety pilot has some requirements that they have to meet. So your safety pilot must hold at least a PPL in the same category and class aircraft. And they must hold a current medical.
There's something else, because they have to hold a PPL in the same category and class if they're acting as a safety pilot in VMC. If you're going into IMC, they have to have an
Instrument rating, yes. So this would be, for our case, it will be fine because we're not, going in IMC. Yes, but if you're in IMC, they need to hold an instrument rating. This is really awkward, right? Instrument rating, thanks, Gabby.
But they can do it if you're not going into instrument conditions.
Yes, so if you're just going into VMC. They just need at least a PPL in the same category class aircraft, and a current medical. If you're going into IMC, they need to have an instrument rating.
Yeah.
And then, if it's been 12 calendar months, this is when you need to do an IPC, or an instrument proficiency check. And this can be done with a CFII or a DPE. And this essentially is saying, like checking like, okay, all of my instrument skills are, still proficient and still safe and legal. Yeah, that makes sense. Any questions on that? Oh, it's yours. Any questions on the currency for instrument flying?
I'm good.
No? Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool, cool. And one thing to know, so you don't have to necessarily log all your instrument approaches unless they're counting towards a training, counting towards some sort of requirement, but you should just log them all, just to keep track. You cannot log an instrument approach, as like done unless you fly down to the minimums. So just that's like legally, that's the rule. Legally, so I don't know why, legally it's the rule, not in quotations, legally that's the rule. That is just the rule.
I
Yeah.
was like, what is?
You're getting a sign?
I
was like, that's a new rule.
But
No.
yes, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to go over today. Oh, what was your AATD question?
I was gonna ask you, like, I know that for us, as a Sling, SOP says that the CFAA we need it, but then technically, if you are holding IFR rated,
Uh-huh.
then you can do by yourself and log, like, shoot an instrument approach and then log as it.
In our AATD, in our sim.
In general, yes. I'm not talking about like a Sling.
No, he talk about no Sling aircraft, yeah.
No, I'm talking about the AATD. But then, like, it's a Sling SOP says that you need a CFAA
Yeah.
in present, but then in general, it just says if you go to the next tool, like CFA,
If they don't require
if
it.
they don't require, so then you can, like, if you're holding a instrument rating,
Mhm.
and then you can still log by yourself.
Yes, yes. So what he's asking guys, you know how we have the two sims, the big sim and the baby sim? So that big sim is called an AATD, an advanced aircraft training device. Those count for logging approaches. So if you want to shoot some approaches in there with the CFAA, that counts as like towards your currency. The baby sim is a BATD. That does not count towards your currency, and you can just, use it on your own whenever you want.
You can't use it as sim hours, right?
No, the baby sim, no.
So why does club have to pay for it?
That's a good question.
ATD?
Yeah, okay, so I was wrong, sorry. I guess you can.
Okay, wait, actually, I would confirm that was.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I did read, someone told me that here, that you can get current on it's like a Redbird. Is it a Redbird?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have all these, which is.
But it's not it's not technically FAA approved.
Yeah,
They say on the regulation there,
Cause the sim has to have like a certification
they need to,
put in by the
Facts.
FAA. Cause like at my old school, we had like these insane sims, but like you couldn't log actual time on them because they weren't approved.
Oh.
yeah,
Like,
on the
it
same, on the
was
same,
Yeah.
push it.
Paladin?
Yes.
Okay.
You would go in
But it's
first,
not.
So like you would sit in like a cockpit.
Oh.
It was literally like the cockpit of a plane. You would like actually sit in it and it was crazy, but like not FAA approved.
We're too poor for that.
No.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so this says, so if we have questions about things, where are we gonna look? Yes, regulations, exactly. So this says, use of a full flight simulator, flight training device, or aviation training device for maintaining instrument experience. You may accomplish the requirements in paragraph Charlie 1, so that's here. Of this section in a full flight simulator, so this would be like an airliner, flight training device, so that would be our AATD, the big sim, or ATD, provided that the device represents the category of aircraft for the instrument rating privileges to be maintained and the pilot performs the tasks and iterations in simulated instrument conditions. You may complete the instrument experience in any combination of aircraft, full flight sim, FTD, or ATD. That is the one thing. Because it's a BATD, I don't know if it counts.
I don't think so, Colin, because it's different.
Yeah.
It's a different
and
type
like
of
you,
aircraft.
like you said, it probably has to be FAA approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
it
no, no, like-
technically is the same category. 'cause
Yeah.
It's a 172.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's 172, so,
Which one, the baby one?
yeah, the baby is,
Yeah.
so I think if you're, like, you guys used to fly Cessna, you guys are fine with that, but most of people got the rates on Sling, I don't think so.
Yeah.
The basic.
Fine, because it's the same.
I think it's fine to the same category
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be same type.
Because
Yeah.
because our training
Yeah.
choices,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not slings.
They're not, they're,
This diamond
Diamond.
forty.
Yeah.
oh.
They're diamonds?
Yeah.
Technically.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it was,
No, it's diamond forty. If you're proficient in like a sling, you can go fly at Cessna, right?
No, you get checked out.
oh, yeah, don't say that as a DP.
I mean.
Legally speaking, you can. You are rated to fly airplanes single
Well,
engine.
yeah, I wouldn't just go do it, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I would hope not.
Yeah, no, I definitely.
Yeah, that would be silly. But like, if you go to plus one, that you have to do a checkout before you get certified. So I think most schools
Promoting
have that.
Other, you promoting other schools.
No. No. But like, if you want to take experience in a Cessna. plus
Yeah,
one
you need
zero.
to.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Back to your question, sorry. So yes, so like we said, that is an AATD, the small one's a BATD. You cannot use that big sim without an instructor. But
By the
legally,
Thing is,
that's by Sling SOP. Legally, hello,
What's up?
my favorite people ever. Legally, you can log it, but not by Sling SOP standards. Yes, that answers your question. Yeah.
it was good, but then.
Can you get current on the red?
Yeah. The baby one?
You can't.
You can,
It's a BATD, it's the only thing you can do on it.
right? So the more you know, you can get current on a BAT.
For what
No, no,
aircraft?
no.
No, for instrument proficiency, they're saying.
Yeah, just.
Instrument proficiency
Yeah.
only, yes.
So you can do it for the 6 calendar months. Can you do it for the next 6 calendar months too? But you have to have a CFI with you, or no? You can still just do it again.
If you have your instrument.
Good to know. Alright, does anybody have? What? Does anybody have any questions about what we covered today, yesterday? No. You guys are so incredibly smart. Wow. That was not sarcastic. I'm sorry. I know that sounded sarcastic.
I don't believe you.
So tomorrow, we're gonna cover. Oh, we kind of covered instrument failures today, but we're gonna go over that again. Lost comms procedures, because it's different for IFR than it is for VFR, and ATC procedures. And I will actually also probably do a combination of risk and like single pilot resource management, risk management in general, risks and hazards, because being an IFR pilot has another level of risks and hazards. So tonight, a little bit of homework, not really homework. Go over, everybody should have Pilots Cafe. Go through Pilots Cafe and also the regulation, and just look into lost comm procedures so we can talk about it tomorrow and you guys are prepared. Yeah, everybody got the slides. You guys all got my slides. Any questions, comments, complaints? No, these are really quiet today. Okay, then that's it from me.
Yeah, no.
Oh, who said that?
Can you airdrop cafe again?
Oh, yeah, I got you. Let me see. Where is it? Oh. Sure. I'm sending it to your iPhone. Is that okay?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You got it? Okay, yeah. Okay, that's it for me, guys. Thank you. Why are we clapping?
know, you're.
Cause I'm so great. Thanks, guys.
Then record the person with him like,
Someone's gonna watch it and be like, what